That's a convenience.
I'm talking about where we live, Roger. Why are you saying, wow, this is in Los Angeles?
No. I'm just saying I've never
Same town.
I mean, no, having that many, like, are they just across the street from each other?
No, I'm saying in Los Angeles, we have these. These are
I thought
the
you
kinds
meant
of
on one
convenience.
corner. It's like,
No,
No, not on one corner, but I would say within 1 mile of where I live.
okay, that makes sense.
There
but I
are
was thinking,
probably
I'm just
4
saying,
7-Elevens.
these are the ones we have. We have 7-Elevens, we have AM,
You
PM.
know, you like if they're like right next to each other. Typically, that's one of those rest stops, like with the hotel or motel.
Yeah, right.
We have a place here called Maverick, and it's kind of taken over everything, including
James
all
Garner.
of our Circle K's got bought by them. All the locations.
Oh, are they all Mavericks now?
They're all Mavericks now.
Am I missing one?
The Come and
brand?
Goes, and there was another one.
There's
they all
Quick
bought them all.
Stop, AMPM.
Do we have Quick Stops? We do in LA.
I don't know.
I don't
Didn't
see
I
quick stops.
thought
I don't
passed
think.
one. Maybe it's something else that I saw.
You're probably right. I'm just trying to remember if I've seen one.
In my neighborhood, a lot of Winchell's Donuts.
Oh, and
Winch-
then Chevron.
Yes.
I used to like
Chevron
Winch.
just has Chevron. Like they don't brand their convenience store usually.
They used to call it something.
No, it's just
something
like
to do with
the
NASCAR.
Chevron Market.
No, they had a term for it like a
Extra
while back.
mile
for NASCAR. Really?
or
No, they
Rocket
had like a campaign where they had like that NASCAR
pit stop,
driver pit stop, something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
But
they're all
Winchell's
being
Donuts.
taken over by 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently. Winchell's Donuts was never like my big thing, but the Winchell's Donuts. I guess there aren't that many near me, but like 3 within a
They're
mile walk.
franchisees. Yeah.
But they're open 24 hours.
Yeah, they are.
But you know
So
who
they're
owns
one of
them?
those places where you're like, do people go to Winchell's at like 3 a.m.?
Heck
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
You got legal
I mean,
weed
I'm
there
not
now.
doing it.
Yeah,
but,
when you need to
know,
knock over a cash
But you know who used to own them before Yum Yum Donuts bought them?
No, I don't.
Denny's.
Denny's,
Really?
what?
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
So Winchell's are just rebranded Yum Yums.
Now they are.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're.
that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if they're using the
We're
same
a
donut
Yum
form.
Yum neighborhood. We don't have a lot of Winchell's, so that would explain why.
But you know, Yum Yum Donuts are good.
we've got a few Winchell's,
Yeah, they're
and
good. I like Yum
and
Yum.
we also
They're
have Dunkin' Donuts right there.
I'm going to say this, and I don't care if you send me angry
Are you?
emails. Not you sitting here, but you
Dunkin'-
listening.
Dunkin's
Okay.
bad. It's bad.
Yes, their donuts are terrible,
I'm
and I
with
don't
you,
care
Roger.
how many angry emails.
I
Oh
don't
my
know
gosh, what a
anybody who
brave,
goes
what a
there.
brave take. No one's ever said that before.
No one's ever said this of
No,
the
everyone
Don't
I
send your
know
angry
from
emails,
like
send it.
Boston, they're very Dunkin'
I mean,
happy
are
folk.
they though? They used to be.
Well,
Tom, do you remember
my friends who grew up in that area definitely are, but they're like, yeah, we don't eat the donuts. It's just the
Yeah,
coffee.
it's the
but I'm
coffee.
like, but the coffee is weird. I don't like the coffee either.
Because they make it for you. That's,
I don't
some
like
people
that.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Tom,
it's
do you
the
remember
last
that
thing I want.
Denny's? Remember that Denny's you went
Yeah.
to when you were here? So they had just
fond
opened that
memories of
before you and I went there, and they just shut down like a week ago.
Really? Why?
I don't
Do you
know.
why?
Can't figure it out. The location over there for everything else is booming.
That wasn't even
Just-
that long ago. It was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
6
maybe
years
5, right before the pandemic. I think
Yeah.
that's when we did it.
Oh, maybe.
But I've never
there's-
seen a Denny's go away before, so it freaked us all
Wow.
out. It was like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the
I've seen
hell?
Lions go, but all right, you guys have a minute. And
1
8
minute.
seconds.
a lot. A lot can happen in a
Denny's
minute.
was never my favorite one. I used to like Caro's. Caro's.
Oh,
Caro's.
yeah.
You guys have
That's if you wanted to eat at a restaurant with lacy
Skellies.
Yeah, and people who spit in your face.
drapes.
yeah.
That's,
Do you
that's
guys
what's going on
have
at Caro's.
do you have Village Inn over there or no?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. That's a big one here for the olds. The olds like it.
Mm.
Yeah.
I liked Lions.
Bishop's
What?
Buffet.
Lions, I was always fine with. There's actually an Olive Garden near me, and I'm
30
thinking
seconds.
about going in there.
Uh-oh.
You should.
Roger's
Why
going to have
not?
flashbacks now.
I don't mind Olive Garden.
I don't-
Roger used to
like,
work
I
at
don't.
Olive
I
Garden.
never
Yeah.
like. I
I
know
worked there
it's.
for half a year.
I know people make fun of it, but like, it's not bad.
Yeah, when you're there, your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
I mean, you're going to eat all the leftovers that all the other families like.
I keep trying to get them to write me into their will every time.
10 seconds.
Yep. If I'm family, my
Have
family's
a
gonna-
good show, everybody.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day and hello, Internet.
Oh, hello, Roger Chang.
Oh,
How
hello.
are you?
Look at
Tom.
Roger being all saucy.
Yeah.
Okay, hello. Salutations.
Fine.
Fine.
Don't get personality, Roger. It might rub off.
Wow.
I didn't
Somebody-
like
go that far, but okay.
Somebody
like
took
it.
his mood leveler this morning.
That's great.
All right. Let's get into the news. Here we go. In 3, 2. Daily Tech News Show is made possible by you listening right now. Thanks to all of you, including that Charlie dude, Justin Zellers, Pepper Geesey, and brand new patron Liz.
Yay!
Welcome, Liz.
Welcome, Liz.
On this episode of DTNS, we know the future of cable TV's survival and we'll tell you. Plus, big tech crushes some small apps, and Scott Johnson tells us what Epic's new Unreal Engine royalties will mean for you as a gamer, or as a user, or just as a person. We love you as a human. This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. In Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
In Salt Lake City, I'm Scott Johnson.
Hey, I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang, and I'm right here.
Hey, indeed. You're right there. Wherever you are, there you are.
Yep.
It's true.
Wherever you go, there you
Wherever
are.
you find yourself, there you'll
What is
be.
that from? Wherever you go, there you are.
The
Somebody
Adventures
said
of
that.
Buckaroo Banzai. I think.
Is it really?
Oh, I
my
thought it was-
gosh,
I
I didn't know
thought it
that.
was like a famous poet or something.
I mean, it's been
that famous
reused.
poet, Buckaroo Banzai.
I've read all the works by Mr. Bonsai. It's fantastic.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's get right into it with the quick hits.
Microsoft launched Office 2024. This is a standalone, non-subscription version of its productivity suite for Mac and PC users. The version includes core apps like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, but it doesn't offer continuous feature updates the way it would for Microsoft 365 subscribers. Office 2024 is available as a one-time purchase. Prices start at $150 for the home version, $250 for the home and business version, and that includes Outlook and also allows for commercial use.
WordPress parent company Automatic's dispute with WP Engine, a major user of WordPress.org software, continues. Here's the latest. On Wednesday, Automatic published a proposed deal from September 2023 that would have it taking 8% of WP Engine's revenue in exchange for either continued use of the WordPress trademark or paying salaried WP Engine employees to contribute to the open source WordPress.org project. WP Engine declined either option. Automatic is now allegedly restricting WP Engine's customers from updating or installing WordPress themes and plugins. Actually, it's not Automatic. It's WordPress.org is restricting WP Engine's customers from updating or installing WordPress themes or plugins, escalating the situation and affecting users across the spectrum. So basically, the short version is Automatic said, here's the thing they're mad at, and put it out for everyone to see. And it was, they wanted a huge amount for licensing the trademark, or more likely what they were trying to do is force them to contribute to the open source project. And the open source project is saying you can't use our update system until you change your ways. So it's 2-on-1.
Yep. I did not have this on my bingo card.
No.
The WordPress, like, you know, who's who. It continues, but yep. Interesting stuff. Also interesting, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman reports Apple is readying a new iPhone SE4 and an upgraded iPad Air lineup. The SE4 would reportedly lose the home button, switching to Face ID, and sport a sleeker edge-to-edge display like the iPhone 14. Definitely Apple's budget-friendly model, but with some premium features. On the tablet side, the new iPad Air would reportedly come with internal improvements. There's talk of an updated Magic Keyboard to complement the device as well. It looks like Apple is going to kick off the the next year, which we're almost at this point, with some upgrades to more of the affordable devices.
Now, we don't usually cover venture capital raises because they happen all the time, and they're really mostly exciting for the company that's raising the capital. But this one's big enough that it's worth noting. OpenAI just raised $6.6 billion, valuing the company at $157 billion. Remember when we thought, ooh, one Instagram, $1 billion? This is 157 Instagrams. Backers include Microsoft and NVIDIA, participation from Thrive Capital, Khosla Ventures, some others. OpenAI is supposedly planning to transition from being a capped profit subsidiary of its nonprofit parent to be an uncapped profit entity independent of its nonprofit parent. And that would allow them to make some aggressive revenue projections. We're talking $3.6 billion this year, up to $11.6 billion next year. Axios reports its sources are saying OpenAI's investors have terms as part of this fundraise that they will get their money back if that transition to an uncapped profit company has not completed within 2 years.
What could go wrong? NVIDIA announced its own family of multimodal language models, the largest of which is the 72 billion parameter NVLM-D72B. I knew I was going to get that wrong. NVIDIA says its benchmarks are comparable to OpenAI's GPT-4.
And that is a look at the headlines.
All right, let's talk cable bundles, shall we? Charter Cable has agreed to distribute Comcast's Peacock to its cable TV customers for no additional charge. That means if you subscribe to Spectrum Cable, which Charter owns, you'll get Peacock as part of your monthly service, just like you get a variety of cable TV channels. Charter currently offers Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Warner Brothers Discovery's Max, Discovery Plus, Paramount Global's Paramount Plus, BET Plus, everybody has the plus, AMC Networks' AMC Plus, Univision's VIX, all as part of your monthly Spectrum TV Select subscription. So if you are a subscriber of this, you might say, oh, cool. That, awesome. I get something for free, or, something for whatever I'm already paying for. That's now bundled in. I think for a lot of other folks, myself included, who do everything a la carte, I wonder how attractive cable can make itself at this point.
At this stage of the game?
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I don't know the answer to that, and I'm also very skeptical of it. It feels like we've been on a road for a while now where that will slowly chip away in favor of where we're headed. But I also see a lot of people in my circles complain that they've now got 12 subscriptions, and those subscriptions equal or exceed the amount they were paying for cable. And then I have to remind them, well, the nice thing is you don't have a 2-year contract to break. You can just cancel these whenever you want and not use the ones you're not using, assuming they're not using all 12. But even if they are using all 12 of those, it's still not an apples-to-apples comparison. So my expectation was well before this that we would see more cable companies, as few as there are, bundling these into their services to try to bridge that gap or to create some sort of, hey, you love our live sports and our live events and the things you just can't quite get right on streaming services yet, or not in their full way, NFL packages, that sort of thing. So keep coming here for that. But also, we know you want to kind of have some of this too. So here's the thing for your iPad when you're on the road and you can watch Peacock while you're, not around or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
that makes sense to me.
I am a YouTube TV subscriber. It's $73 a month. It has crept up over the last few years. It started at like $50. So it's not as affordable as it used to be, but that's the way I watch sports. I mean, I can't get every single, like an NFL package would be something, on top of that. But it's the way I watch local news, watching the VP debate, for example. It's like, how else am I going to do that? Like, I need some sort of a cable bundle type thing. And then sports. So you have options. But I think more so we're in this era where, and we talk about this a lot on the show, is like, oh, Disney Plus, subscribers, lost a lot of subscribers because they don't have like that hit show. You can't expect everybody to subscribe to 12 different streaming services and pay more than they would for cable. And, when most of this is really a lean back situation already.
Increasingly, all the stuff you're talking about that you get from YouTube TV is showing up in these services. Sports is showing up on Peacock. Sports is showing up on Max. News is showing up on Peacock. News is showing up on Max.
But you have to kind of like hunt and peck.
You are getting closer and closer to not needing cable for much of anything. And you are close to Venue launching, which would take 3 of the 5 major sports TV providers into one service. You're close to ESPN being available independently. So we are seeing more and more of these things go into the services. There has been a lot of work done that shows even if you buy a bunch of these things, it's still cheaper than a cable subscription. Usually when people complain, it's because, like you, Sarah, you're saying, I need YouTube TV and these other things. As more of this stuff moves into it, you won't need YouTube TV to get these things. You'll be able to get it from the other stuff. But to your last point, what's frustrating is you have to hunt and peck. You have to be like, okay, maybe it is cheaper, but I've got 12 different subscriptions to manage and logins to remember.
Okay, so that's where I go to Amazon for
which
football.
one is that on? And what Spectrum is wisely doing is saying to you, hey, wouldn't you just like to have it all in one place with one login, your Spectrum login?
Well, and
we'll pay the bill.
The answer is yes.
You just pay us, and you won't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And to their existing TV subscribers, they're saying, hey, I know you guys are confused about all this stuff that Sarah was talking about on DTNS because it sounds like a nightmare. We'll take care of it. We'll give you Peacock. We'll give you BET Plus. We'll give you ESPN Plus. And you just log in. You don't have to go anywhere. And eventually, the cable TV part of this is going to dwindle to almost nothing. And they'll be paying for someone to provide all of these app services to them. At least that's what Spectrum hopes. That looks like the future of cable TV provisions. It looks like what DirecTV wants to do with the combined Dish DirecTV that's supposed to close at the end of next year. So the question for you as a viewer is, would you like to risk losing access to your apps because there's a carriage dispute down the line, risk having your fees go up with you having no control of whether you can cancel individual services for the convenience of just having one bill? Or would you like to maintain the control of like, I can decide which ones to have. I can adjust my budget. I've got no contracts, but I have to keep track of, a dozen or more different services. That's the choice we're given now, it looks like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or at least close to it. All right, we have a tale of 2 apps removed by the world of big tech. One is called Juno, Juno, made by Christian Selig. He also made the Apollo Reddit reader, if you remember that story. So here he is again, fighting an app store removal. Juno wrapped up the YouTube website in a shell for the Apple Vision Pro. It did not use the YouTube API. It just added the ability to view the YouTube website in 360 or 180 degrees, use gesture control for the playback functions, interpret voice controls for the playback functions. But YouTube says that violates our API terms and, quote, strongly alludes to YouTube's trademarks and iconography, and Apple has removed it from the App Store. Selig says he's not going to fight that. Separately, Ryujinx was a Nintendo Switch emulator. It didn't distribute any pirated games, just emulated the processors in the Switch. And the assumption was it was under Brazilian law. We don't know that for sure, but that's what everybody thought. And therefore, because Brazilian law is more emulator friendly, it could resist lawsuits being filed against it. But it's now gone too, from its own website and from GitHub. One of the developers said in Discord and on X that Nintendo, quote, offered an agreement to stop working on the project, and you can fill in the rest. Is basically what they were saying.
An agreement
Like,
meaning we paid you to stop doing this.
Maybe we don't know.
We don't
know.
And
I
they
mean,
won't
I don't know what
That's
other
one
kind of
possible-
agreement,
Yeah.
probably more than a handshake, but yeah.
Have no idea. No idea. They didn't say. They can't say. They're probably legally prohibited from saying by that same agreement, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, here we got two. You can argue that the IP implications of either of these, might be egregious and therefore they should be stopped. But these were two innovative apps trying to help you access content in a different way that big tech has stomped on, and now you can't.
Well, here's a case. So in the Nintendo case, in the Switch emulator, we've had a couple of these go down by the wayside recently because Nintendo rattled their sabers and made threats. And this is just another in that long line. And that's nothing new either. Over the decades, Nintendo's been very litigious about this sort of thing. Meanwhile, there's a lot of players who, talk a lot of talk about, hey, we want to have a preservation thing in place. The companies aren't doing it for us, so we're going to do that with these emulators. And it is not illegal to make an emulator for anything. It doesn't matter what console or what brand or what any of that stuff. You can make them. But I also think Nintendo probably feels like they're on pretty solid ground, given the fact that these emulators are not they are not illegal in and of themselves. But there is nothing in law that is supposed to allow me to play, let's in this case say Switch games on this emulation software on a PC or a Steam Deck or wherever.
Yeah, especially because Switch games are copyright protected. So if you were to circumvent that copyright protection in the United States and a lot of other places, you would be violating a law that prohibits you from circumventing copyright protection.
Exactly. So there's a lot of people know what it's for but aren't saying what it's for. The thing is, though, I do think in the long run, I said this on TMS today when you were on, I think that nature finds a way. Emulation always ends up happening, and it's good in the long run. It does create preservation where there is none. And I think that it's easy to see this and go, oh, that's it for Switch's future, whatever. But remember, this is a current generation console for them. It's old now, in 2017 now. It's been a bit of time. But it's still a current gen product for them. This is what they're making games for before they release anything new. Come to me 10 years later, there'll be 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. Is how it always goes. That's how it is right now for previous Nintendo hardware. You want SNES cores and emulators? Hundreds of them, literally. So I don't think people should get too worked up over this. In the long term, there will be preservation on that front. But for those who are just using it because they don't want to pay for the games, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Piracy is illegal, so.
Yeah, and there's an argument that if somebody did have the resources to take Nintendo to court when they were threatened, Nintendo could still win, saying you're encouraging distribution of piracy because there's no other thing you can use that isn't pirated.
There's no other use case for the thing. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now, in the Juno case, though, Tom, this is the one that throws me because it seems like any of us could make like a little doohickey, and why are they getting targeted?
Let me say, I don't get Apple cooperating with this. I'm curious where that comes from, but they're not violating the YouTube API unless Selig's just lying. And I know why YouTube wants it out of there, because YouTube is bargaining with Apple over App Store provisions and revenue sharing.
So that's
and so
why.
YouTube doesn't. Yeah, but why would Apple cooperate?
Yeah,
because it's trying to be on good terms with the YouTube folks. That would be my guess.
I guess so, but I mean,
The fact that this is in terms of the YouTube folks, at least not on this issue.
Well,
the fact that it's not even interfering with actual API,
with that.
or it doesn't use the API.
Yeah, this one's weird. Especially Christian Selig, who is the lead developer on this, just saying like, all right, well, I'll just take it away. It was a hobby project anyway. Oh well, kind of thing.
Well, that's what he does. He does these things as a hobby, and he fought back with Apollo when Reddit started charging for the API, but it didn't work, and he ended up saying like, well, I can't afford to keep doing it. So
yeah, he's probably like, I don't want to do this again. But this is an app that, as a Vision Pro owner, I've played around with. It was really cool. I don't think anybody would think that it was a YouTube property. And that's, obviously what YouTube's going for is like, no, people are confused.
Using our trademark.
Right. Yeah. Like you didn't, you don't work for us type thing. I don't really, I don't think that's what's going on. I think it's just sort of, I don't know.
Apple's usually such a stickler for the rules that they'll be like, sorry,
Yeah.
YouTube, he's not using your API. We're not going to remove it. But either Selig is glossing it over and there was something else under the hood that YouTube could latch on and get Apple's
Well,
very
the
rule-following
trademark
people.
thing also.
But he
just could
wasn't
get
using the
messy.
trademark. He wasn't. He was only saying
But
for
YouTube said
YouTube,
it
which is in
alluded
YouTube's
to
own
it.
guidelines.
Yeah.
They say that, but where? Where was he doing that?
Yeah.
Like,
That's the-
I don't see the evidence of that.
That's the weird part. If it's not all logoed up and looking like YouTube
It wasn't
made this thing,
right.
then it
Sarah,
seems like
it wasn't all logoed up, was it?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
I mean,
That's
other
weird.
than having the YouTube logo when you loaded YouTube, which also happens in a browser, that's the
I think honestly, I think YouTube was like, we should have made this up ourselves. Let's get this guy out of here. And then do
Maybe.
that.
I mean, I hope they do because it's a really cool.
That would be my guess.
Yeah, I hope they do. Like if they're going to kick people out for making something good, making your product better,
Make
then
it good.
Yeah,
Make
pay
it
him to
better.
do
case
it.
studies for companies being big enough to crush innovation. These are innovative uses for apps. Not all innovative uses of apps are illegal. So you could decide that both of these were illegal and you'd be perfectly reasonable to do so. But these are definitely cases of this is what people going after antitrust say. When you're too big, you crush innovation. These are the kinds of things you see.
I don't disagree with that. I think that's true.
Maybe you do disagree with that, and you can tell us in our Discord, and we'll all respond, or at least I will, because you'll be saying it to me probably. In our Discord, you can join by linking to a Patreon account at patreon.com/DTNS.
Epic is dropping its royalty rates from 5% to 3.5% for games made with the Unreal Engine. The games also have to be made available on the Epic Game Store on launch day. The change is part of the company's Launch Everywhere with Epic program, which begins January 1st, 2025. All right, Scott, so what do you think is behind this move, and how does it affect developers and gamers?
Well, okay. So if you're a developer, this is great. Anything that gives you more of the bottom line when your game sells, the better. And this is good for them. This is good for devs. As far as gamers go, this isn't really going to affect you, at least not right now. The one thing you'll notice here is this is not them saying you must publish on Epic's game store exclusively for any period of time. They still do deals with people, but they're not saying, hey, everybody, make sure it's on the Epic store only for some period of time or only in perpetuity. They're just saying launch day, it needs to be there. If it's on Steam, fine. If it's on consoles that day, great. But we need to be part of the launch lineup. I think that's perfectly reasonable for them to do while posturing with this lower rate, right? I think that actually is okay.
Yeah, they're not prohibiting you from
No.
doing otherwise. They're just saying they'll give you a break on the cost, right?
And they really can't. I mean, they're in a weird position right now. So here's the other reason why I think this is going on and why they're sweetening the deal for sort of across the board. They kind of have it all locked in when it comes to big AAA titles. This is the engine to go to, and it's where the big hits are coming from. When it comes to big, ultra-realistic, effects-heavy games from big companies that don't have their own engine. Where they've lost ground in recent years, even with Unity's problems, is Unity and a little engine called Godot, or Godot. I forget how people are supposed to say it. I always say Godot because I think of the actress. But anyway, it's an up-and-coming engine that a lot of people are starting to move to as their solution for their middleware sort of B-tier indie games. And they're losing a lot of ground to the Unity and Godot. As a result, I think they want to get some of that stuff back. A huge portion of Steam's revenue comes from that category. Like there's big titles, absolutely. But the biggest reason Steam eats their lunch in the store category is because they have a ton of that middleware and it's all really great. And people aren't necessarily jumping to the Unreal Engine to do these things. And oftentimes Unreal feels like it's too big to be even needed for this. I need a cute little side-scrolling throwback to the 90s. Do I really need Unreal to do that? You can kind of do that with anything. And I think they want to remind people that, yes, you could use Unreal for that. And you might actually make a little more money because we're not going to take as much fee as we did before. So I think this is not an olive leaf. This is an extended hand to that community to say, hey, let's get Unreal in more hands. I think this is good. It's been a very difficult uphill thing for them with the store competition. There were, there were feelings at the beginning of that. If they gave us enough free games on Epic, which they still do every month, and if they had enough exclusives, timed or otherwise, with big names like Ubisoft and others. Gearbox is another one. Then that would push them ahead. That would give them the traction they needed to at least go toe to toe with Steam, if not exceed them. And it hasn't happened. It's been years now, many years. And it just hasn't happened. They don't have even close to the market share. Despite having one of the most popular games in the history of video games with Fortnite, they're just not there. So I think this is also a way to boost that, saying if you launch here on day one, that means we're going to have your games, which means we get more traction over here. People will stay here longer. They'll get out of Fortnite and go, oh, what's this? And have a bunch more choices to go with. So it's kind of a win across the board. I don't really see any negatives here. The only time it starts to get negative is when they start talking exclusivity, when it's like it's only on the Epic Store and you can't go anywhere else to get this deal. They're not doing that here. So I actually think this is a pretty good move by the company, and probably to me and others who are just like, well, wait, what does it mean for my $30 game I'm about to buy? Really nothing at this stage. They start swinging on more exclusivity and that kind of stuff, then we can talk. But I think this is actually a safe place for players and beneficial for developers who are looking to get a little more than they were getting when they sell their games.
Yeah, it relieves some price pressure too. I don't think it's going to lower the price of games, but it's one less pressure that would push the price to go up. Yeah. And if people don't realize, you have to make $1 million in revenue off your Unreal Engine powered product before you pay any of this.
Right.
So this doesn't affect small developers just starting out. This is like I'm bringing in the big bucks. And so now I have to kick in. They also did an interesting thing where they are waiving the 5% fee for iOS games. Mm-hmm. And again, most of the world, you can't list third-party apps in the iOS App Store anyway. But in Europe, there's third-party app stores like Epic Store. So you can list an iOS app version in the Epic Store, but you have to pay Apple's core technology fee. So in acknowledgement that you're going to have to pay that core technology fee, Epic is saying, we won't make you pay the 5%, even if you don't list it in the Epic Store at launch day, because we know that this is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, exactly. And the Epic Game Store PC side, same thing applies with the royalties waived. If you sell through there, they're not going to charge you those royalties because, again, you're in their garden. That's where they want you to be.
Yeah.
I think these are all positive moves that gives developers a few more options. The biggest question I have, and it's real nitty gritty, and maybe some devs will write in and talk about it, but if I wanted to make a game that I knew was going to be just for PCs, that's the only place I wanted to put it. Well, then it would end up on the Epic Game Store and perhaps Steam and maybe GOG or something like that. Is Epic going to require me as a developer to put it in their iOS European Epic Game Store? Maybe. Or some other Android equivalent. Like, I don't know. Because if these games aren't designed for certain platforms, how much wiggle do you have in this agreement? And that stuff we'll probably suss out over time. But overall, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a positive thing for the Engines business, which is bigger and more competitive than ever.
Thank you, Scott, for walking us through that.
Sure.
All right, let's check out the mailbag.
Let's do it. This one comes in from Russell, who writes, I heard Chris Christensen mention Joby on the show Tuesday. I was walking through New York's Grand Central Station on my way home, and there was a Joby air taxi sitting in one of the halls. See the attached photo. Pretty cool to see in person. I hope this gets legs, as the Uber from the Upper West Side of Manhattan to Newark can be a bit painful, and this would be much better. Russell says, keep up the great work. Really like how DTNS has been evolving.
Oh, thank you, Russell. It's been nice having you walking the streets of New York with us for the past 10 years, sending us pictures like this. I love the big crate in the background that said Joby, in case you didn't know.
I mean, at first, when I saw the photo, at first I was like, oh, it's big. And I'm like, well, but, you got to carry things.
You got to, it's pretty big. Was it Joby that had the one at CES this past year, earlier this year? I think it might have been.
I think it was, yeah.
So they've just been carrying that thing around, setting it up in big halls. I guess.
Grand Central.
Yeah.
Want to see it? Here it is. Well, thank you, Russell. And thanks to everybody who writes. And if you have questions, comments, feedback, send it our way. Feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Scott Johnson, you just keep on coming back. That's all I ask of you. And what else do you have going on when you're not with us?
Every Wednesday, I promise to do that whenever there's a Wednesday to be had. So I will be here. But here's what else I'm doing. So I love the fall. It gets real crazy and interesting around here. Not just the shows and all that, but we like to do a thing every October. We're making it more official this year. But my daughter and I are doing what we're calling Frogtober. We're basically drawing something every day, Halloween related. And we started yesterday. Today, a little bit later today, frogpants.com will have a page dedicated to the results of our art. Plus, we're going to include a bunch of community art because we have them playing along with us. So if this sounds like fun and you just want to dust off your old pen, you can even just take pictures of stuff. It doesn't have to be digital. You can submit it right to this form. I'll get all the details up there for you. But go check it out, and you might have some fun with the shows and other stuff there, too. That's frogpants.com.
But make the art yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Make the art. Don't generate AI because I can see it. I can see it 1,000 miles away. It is not hard for me to tell.
Six
so
fingers.
Don't even try. Yeah.
Or sour cream that looks like ice cream on your tacos that I tried to generate and posted on Instagram yesterday.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, nice job. I saw that. It was great.
Yeah, thanks. Patrons, stick around for the extended show, Good Day Internet. Target has the technology to let your shoes grow with your feet. We'll discuss.
We will. Just a reminder, you can catch our show live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2000 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We're back doing it all again tomorrow with Justin Robert Young joining us. Talk to you then.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Indeed, it does. Indeed, it can. And indeed, it will. Indeed. Tony gave us a super chat.
Oh, thanks, Tony.
Thank you,
How
Tony.
nice of you.
That was nice.
Thank you. I don't know if we should do air horns. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thank you, Tony. If you're watching or listening live in the Discord or Twitch, you can submit titles, or if you're in YouTube, go to showbot.tv/DTNS2 and just see all the titles and submit one yourself. Vote on the ones that are there. Everybody should vote. We've got 27 submitted titles, but only 5 votes.
Oh, man. Rock the
Too
Make
close
your
to
voice
call.
heard.
Yeah.
Too
Make
close
your
to
voice
call.
heard.
We're going to be here all night till we get all these in. If you're in line, stay in line.
Hanging chads. Oh, God.
That's right.
Hanging chat GPTs.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about shoes that grow with you. So Target, my favorite place in the world, is introducing a new line of sneakers designed to allow the company and the shoes to grow alongside the foot that is also growing. You know, if you got somebody who's, between 4th and 7th grade, you're going to have a lot of different shoe sizes, right? So this is extending how long the shoes can be worn before they're too small and have to be thrown out or given to somebody else. The Unos by SZ or SIZ shoes, which is short for You Need One Size, are available in kid sizes for $35, adult sizes for $50 in 16 different color options. They're kind of cute, I have to say. The Unos by
Size?
Sizz, yeah, let's call it Sizz, features a sole that's split into 2 sections. You might be like, how does this work? Okay, so you got a sole in 2 sections, Z-shaped channel, but each side remains connected by flexible fabrics. So the design allows the shoes to expand in width and even length while being still securely fitting your foot up to half a size. So this is not going to work for like 4 years type thing, but it is going to work for a school year type thing in the kids version, up to a full size in the adult version.
That makes sense. I'm not used to this though. Like I know this isn't new. I'm sure there's probably examples of like Walmart or somebody making branded or, having a shoe that you can only get there or a shirt or something. But I would wear these. They look great. Like I usually don't trust that is what I'm saying. I don't know why. Don't ask me.
So these shoes, I found footwearnews.com says that these shoes were a collaboration between Target and Dr. Dwayne Edwards of Design Focused College PLC Detroit. a historically black university in Detroit, and that they teamed up with Dr. Edwards to solve the problem of shoes that aren't that aren't, that you grow out of. And so I don't know where the S is. I was trying to find out, like, how do they say S is E, but I found this way more interesting than just that. So size. Oh, here it is. SZ is pronounced size. Unos by size.
Oh, size. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it's been so long. I mean, my feet stopped growing when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just not a thing that applies to me.
Or does it?
Or does
if you have weird feet.
Yeah, I have weird feet.
Now, maybe you don't have weird feet, Sarah. I'm not trying to imply you do, but it's not just about your feet growing. It's about, I can never find those shoes that fit quite right. My feet are a little wide. My feet are a little short. That kind of thing.
Well, one of the, like, I have very small little fairy feet, but I do, up in my toes, I do have kind of a wide berth compared to, where my ankle is type thing, to the point where sometimes a shoe that fits me is just like uncomfortable up top.
See, this could solve that. Because if you're not picturing it, if you're listening to audio, it's a Z-shaped thing on the sole so that it can move both like side to side and front to back.
Yeah, right.
So if your toes are a little pinched up at the front, it'll just move side to side towards the front.
Kind of love it. I kind of love this idea because I mean I bought some. I'm sort of a Nike person in general, for running shoes or hiking shoes and that sort of thing. And I bought a new pair recently that, designed for like, hikes. And I put them on and I was like, they're too tight. They have given, they've given way. So we're in good shape now. But they are arguably like a size too small for me. And this is a size that I would always buy with Nike. Nike was, that's why I go with Nike. Like everything works out well. Something talking about this Target brand where it's sort of like, maybe my feet aren't growing anymore, but maybe it's hot outside. So, your feet are a little like more swollen than they would be otherwise. That happens too.
I just found in the Verge article, Dr. Edwards used to be a designer at Nike.
Oh, no way.
Also LA Gear and Jordan, but
LA Gear.
See, Sarah, you found your Shangri-La here. You're going to get what you need. This is good. I can't wear Nike.
Because I want to go to Target anyway.
I can't wear Nike shoes. I love Nike shoes. Like I love the look of them and all that stuff.
Why can't you?
The left shoe never fits the same as the right shoe. It's almost like
this solves that too.
This does solve that. That's why I like this. The problem with the Nike is
to solve that.
It's 100% not
true.
Nike's fault. It's a me thing, and I can wear other brands and they're fine. For some reason, all Nike's shoes just fit different than they're supposed to.
It's weird. So my left foot is slightly bigger than my right foot. So there are shoes where I'm just like, right foot, it's fine. Left foot, not fine. Or vice versa.
Yeah.
Never had that problem with Nike, though. But, this stuff is very personal. And I feel like people are just, often wearing shoes that just don't fit them very well. Because
That's
they don't have options like this.
Yeah.
Used to be you would have your shoes made for you, but they were very expensive when you had to do that, right?
But you could get them.
I'm like, where's the cobbler?
People used to only have one pair of shoes most of their life because of that.
Yeah. But because they were handmade, they could be like reshod with a new sole if you wore it out. I'm wondering how long these last typically.
That is a big question, right? What is the durability of these? Because, they're new.
Kids.
We haven't been able to put them through the paces. But the problem with kids is usually they grow out of the shoes before they wear them out. So
that's true. Yeah. My kids definitely do.
Really, Roger? You're saying that your kids wear out the shoes before they grow out of them?
Not mine. Roger's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we this is the weird thing, and
I've heard that's unusual, but
Like
It
we used to get multiple pairs of the same size, but we stopped doing that because by the time they wore it out, it went to the next. Like, oh, we have backups. Like, oh, they're too big for them. So it could be a case of they wear them out, but they've also stretched the material as their feet grows. So we have to get the next size up, and there's always that weird in between space between one side, the current size, and the next
That's
size
what this is designed to address. Exactly that. Yeah.
But like if it has high durability, I mean, parents will totally dig these. I used to wear out shoes like every 6-7 months.
What were you
'Cause I
doing?
walked-
Just curious.
you
Walked
had
a lot?
shoes.
Walking, I would walk home.
You walked.
I walked like 2
to and
miles
from
home.
school in the snow.
No,
both
my
ways.
parents would drop me off, but I would walk home.
Okay.
Roger walked. No, I mean,
Wait a
uphill
minute.
both
Why am I being ridiculed for walking home?
I mean, it's not. It's a good
you're
point.
not. No,
Oh,
no.
I was
Roger,
just
you're so
impressed that
you're so eco-friendly.
we didn't wear shoes in the summer, so you had us on that one.
I mean,
can't walk barefoot
at this point, when I buy running shoes, and when I buy running shoes, I don't always run in them. Most of the time I'm like walking my dog or whatever. But it's kind of expected that every 6 months or so, you need a new pair. I mean, maybe you run it into the ground a little bit more, but the shock absorption isn't there anymore, and sometimes they're kind of falling apart. I mean, shoes aren't designed to be around for years and years. Certain kinds of shoes that you wear once in a while, certainly. I think
sure.
I think what Target's doing is this is like everyday shoes for young people or or people who have fit issues, and it's Target, so it's not going to be like a $300 pair of shoes.
No, it's $35.
Yeah.
$50 if you're an adult.
Exactly.
That's really a good price for shoes. Shoes are so expensive now.
Yeah.
They are. It's great. Even the stuff that used to be like skater shoes that used to be like the super cheap ones are like $50.
Well, because now they're like people want to be skaters. So
Skechers are less than $100 though. I find them to be quite affordable.
But
How are
This is
you,
not an
how are you
advertisement.
loving those Skechers, Tom?
They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The slip ins.
They're the step in. You don't have to bend over. It's such a
I
little
like
round thing.
that.
Yeah.
That is great. I'm honestly, that should be the innovation of all shoes.
I also like
why
the
are we
hyper
still
arch
lacing them?
ones. They have a little better support than the Skechers. But they're floppy on the side, so you can't step into them. The Skechers are the perfect balance between I don't have to bend over and a little orthopedic support.
Yeah, and you're going to be skating again soon. So
And let me now sell you some
Tom
vitamins.
on a skateboard. That I would like to see.
Never happened yet. Actually, no, that's not
So
true.
wait.
I got on skateboards and fell right off pretty fast a couple of times
Yeah,
in my life.
it's actually pretty hard.
But I did a top 5 shoes at Daily Tech
Yeah?
News Shows, YouTube shorts. So go check it out.
YouTube.com/Daily Tech News Show. Check out the shorts.
Yeah.
yeah,
All of them.
look at
Actual
look at-
footage of me actually stepping into the Skechers.
Yeah,
I
you
have
want to
wondered-
see? Yeah, Tom's shorts are on display the whole time.
I have wondered
right.
why
Me and
insoles
shorts.
were never designed to be removable. Dr. Scholl's makes a killing selling those inserts. Just having Nike
Because it would cost as much to replace them as to buy the new sneakers before sneakers got as expensive as they are now. Back in the day, the idea with sneakers is they were cheap. So
Right.
why make them removable when no one's ever going to pay to replace the sole when you could just pay a couple dollars more and buy a whole new pair of shoes?
Yeah, good point.
But today the economics have changed. And shoes are hundreds of dollars, even sneakers in some cases. So
Well, and there have been
maybe
a
it is
couple,
worth it now.
not lately, but a couple of sneakers that I, in my closet right now, that I just I loved them. I thought it was my size, and they were too big because I have little bird feet. And I got an insole to make them, better. What we were talking about earlier, Roger, and it kind of works. But
Yeah.
it doesn't really work the way that it should when a shoe just fits you. It's
Yeah.
you sort of clod around. I don't know. It doesn't really work.
I mean, it's such an odd thing because our feet were, at least through evolution, were designed to be walked on without anything around it.
your feet were made for walking.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just what
That's
they'll
just
do.
what
Is my
they'll
understanding.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can also stand on them for quite a long time.
One of these days, his feet are going to walk all over us.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Roger, have you thought about standing? You can do that.
Yes.
You can
on
do that.
feet.
I used to do what's the stork thing where you only stand on one leg
Yeah.
as you survey your property.
And then you deliver a baby?
No.
A baby Ruth.
A baby, you deliver a baby
Or a
Ruth.
Butterfinger?
That's a different. Well, so actually, it's interesting you bring up the baby aspect because that's actually one of the few times your feet change is when you go through pregnancy. Your feet get
They do.
bigger. So
They
just
change.
having-
They get
This-
larger.
These
spread.
shoes might be good
they
for that.
spread. Yes. Yeah. Actually, you know what?
Good point.
That's a good use case.
And I don't want
Definitely.
to. I don't want to speak for the entire industry of shoemaking, but I can tell you this: my son worked for I will not name the company, but he worked for a fancy shoe place. And before he quit, he says, "Dad."
Did it rhyme with Badidas?
No, it did not. He
was
says,
it?
"Dad."
Was it like Timberlake?
No, but it's really expensive shoes. He says, "If you come in here, I still have this discount. I can get you a really good pair of shoes."
Did it rhyme with Smoochy?
It was no. It
Was
was
it was it Burgundy Wing?
$399
Did it
shoes.
rhyme with Sluvog?
No, it did not. It's a more of like a men's focus.
Was it
That's the
like a
best I can tell
Berkeley
you.
stock?
It was
Deadwing?
no, not although he did work at Red Wing, but it's not them.
Okay.
But anyway, $400 shoes. I got them for $50. My point is,
Yes.
somebody's making bank, and it
Oh,
ain't,
yeah.
it ain't
That's
the
how
salesperson.
that's how businesses work, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying
a lot of markup being happening.
No one goes through 80 hours a week of labor just to break even.
You actually try to make as much money selling the thing as the market will
as
will
the
bear.
market will allow, and as it turns out,
but
they'll
that's the
allow
thing
a
with
lot.
shoes and any clothing actually is style. Style makes all the difference. Like how much you can pay is a status symbol with clothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't really take more materials to make a YSL bag than it does to make a Kmart version. But if everybody knows you're hauling around the Kmart version, you don't have the status of having your YSL or your Gucci or whatever.
I think it's
course,
really
yeah.
good for Target to do this though, because this is Target, not known for, the cheapest place. They're it's like Walmart better than Walmart, right?
Yeah.
It's the
And so
it's
them
affordable chic, right?
them making
It's
it
middle
affordable,
class.
yeah,
Yeah.
making it affordable was really a smart move, I think.
I have never bought shoes from Target before. I
I
don't
have
even
either,
really
actually.
know where shoes
I buy all my
are
kids' shoes
at
at
Target.
Target.
They're in the shoe
But,
section.
but I mean, t-shirts, underwear, like I bought plenty of things that I wear from Target that are, I know it's fast fashion, but it's, $5 rather than,
What is one of the
95
biggest
bucks.
problems when you go to buy shoes at a place that sells shoes? It's getting the size. It's asking the person, well, I usually take a 10.5, so bring me, they're like, okay, I'll bring you a 10.5 and an 11. And then you have to try them on. These get rid of that too. Mm-hmm. It's like small, medium, and large.
Yep.
As long as they're close, they're gonna expand. They're gonna stretch out to whatever you need.
Is there like a Warby Parker for shoes where they just scan your feet, you get like the general template, and then you pick the design you
There
want?
is
and they just
probably
make
a company that does this.
Well, that was Zappos' big thing, but Zappos just ended up doing returns. They were just like, easy return, try them on. If they don't fit, send them back. We'll give
Right,
you a new
yeah.
one.
Yeah, that's the easiest path to take, I suppose.
Because sometimes there's like really cool shoes I want, but it's like they're made too narrow for my big, wide canoe feet.
you have
Amish
wide, your
Overlord
feet are
claims there's
wide.
only one Kmart
Triple E.
left.
I think that's true.
One Kmart in the world?
I think there's only a single Kmart. Ours
What?
are all
No,
gone.
there's a
We used to
bunch of
have more.
Kmart's in
this.
Australia. I don't know about the U.S.
Oh, maybe in the U.S. Maybe
It's
that's what
time
it
to
is.
go on a search.
The
There are
internet to the
six
internet.
Kmart.
remaining Kmarts.
Oh, well, then I heard the same news
In-
he did, and it
in
was wrong.
3 in the U.S. Virgin Islands, 1 in Kendale Lakes, Florida, 1 in Bridgehampton, New York, which is scheduled to close in 2 weeks, and 1 in Tamuning, Guam. So I guess after the Bridgehampton
Wow.
one closes, there will only be 1 in the domestic United States, which for many people is the world.
Right.
Yeah,
There are a lot of
yeah.
people I know personally who think it is the world.
So yeah, 3 in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and then the 1 in Kendale Lakes, Florida will be the last one in the mainland U.S., and then 1 in Guam.
I mean, I never really had a Kmart near me as a kid, so I knew like blue light special, but like I didn't.
That's where I used to go
there
for my school
type thing.
supplies. You get your
Yeah,
erasers, your
yeah.
notebooks,
Like I
pens.
would see it, on a road trip here and
Get
there,
your,
but
not
that
Kate
surprises
Jackson's.
me. I did not realize that Kmart was kind of dunzo.
The last
Yeah.
thing I
Target
bought at a
killed it.
Kmart was
Target
out
killed
in
it.
at the
Yeah.
Burbank one, and I picked up some shades. The ones you pull down for the windows, because the ones that came with the house were all ripped.
There are 325 Kmarts in Australia and New Zealand, but that is a different company.
No,
They just have the same name and logo.
that happens a lot.
Yeah, that totally threw me off.
And
Yeah.
how do the companies? They probably have some sort of agreement.
There was
It's
a
the same
joint
thing like a
venture
7-Eleven.
between GJ Coles and SS Kresge back in the day, and then eventually Kresge bought out, or Coles bought out Kresge, and it's been entirely owned by them since 1968.
Wow.
about
I
that?
bought 3 DVDs from an Australian.
We used to have a Kresge's in Vandalia, Illinois, when I
I
was
remember
growing up,
Kresge's. I remember that.
which was Kresge's was the predecessor to Kmart.
Oh, I didn't know that
Oh.
though. I just thought it was a separate.
Wait, when
thing.
did Kmart start?
60s? Right?
Let me get back to the Kmart. Not the-
70s was around for sure.
To the Wikipedia.
I
To
feel
the-
like in the 70s, I knew about
Okay.
Kmart, even as a
Oh, founded
Very
in
young
1899.
Yeah, but that's
Kresge's.
Kresge's. When
Oh,
did it hang?
1962. In Garden
60s.
City, Michigan.
Okay. So it was 60s. Thought I had that right.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Kresge's.
Kresge.
I have
It
never
sounds like
heard of
a-
Kresge's.
It sounds like a
Oh,
deli or something, doesn't it?
It's been headquartered in the Hoffman Estates of Illinois.
Philip Seymour Hoffman's estate.
The first prototype Kmart, the first store to carry the name Kmart was a Kresge store in San Fernando, California.
Well, how about that?
yeah, look at what we've learned.
Just 6 months before the first Walmart opened.
Oh my.
Oh, big Kmart.
Wow.
That was the
Yeah.
Kmart. Kmart is the they're the Atari of of stores.
Of
They had
big box
they had
stores.
they
and
owned
when
the space.
Walmart
and
opened,
then-
I was like, "Is that Kmart?" And people were like, "No, totally different." I'm like, "In what way?"
yeah.
And nobody
It's
could ever
new.
explain that to me.
It's your savings place versus Kmart, which has blue light specials.
They have falling prices.
I lived in the
thing is,
country in an orchard.
Walmart had more
I didn't
name
have any of these
brand
stores.
clothing, I think, than Kmart did
Oh
at the time.
yeah, well,
Our-
it was more of the like the all-in-one store.
Our little town kept all of them out. We were like, no big box stores. So
Oh, yeah.
all the towns within 15 miles of us had Walmarts. None of them had Kmarts, I don't think, but they all had Walmarts because our town refused to let them have.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want
Oh,
the
yeah.
mom and pops to go out, right?
Yeah.
You want to keep that all.
Guess
in-
what? They
Basketball,
went out
California
anyway.
definitely had the same thing,
Yeah.
and still does. Even though there's a Taco Bell in there now. So I'm
Kmart,
like,
Free
Kmart
market,
used
baby.
to be
I don't
really
know.
good for auto parts. Not parts, but supplies like windshield.
Kmart
wipers.
so did
Yeah.
Sears.
I was
It
going
was
to
like
say, I always
Sears
think of
was great.
Sears.
No,
having been.
Sears
Oh, I
had
love
had
Sears.
really cheap Levi's because I used
Sears
for the,
always smelled like popcorn.
But they also
I-
had really good auto parts and auto
but
repair.
Sears-
and
would-
you would just walk in. It smells like
Sears was-
popcorn, and you'd buy a tractor.
So, well, the thing about Sears is you could get all they sold all the Levi's jeans, all the styles, but they were like $10 cheaper than like another store.
It wasn't cool to shop at Sears for clothes, but
Who cares?
my parents were.
Do I look cool?
for-
No, I
No,
want
Roger,
well,
you
no,
are-
no, no. What
you're
I'm
not
sa-
like
what I'm
most
saying
people,
is,
Roger.
I went
walked
into
to school.
Sears quite
Listen,
a few times with my
Y'all
parents. where
rich
they're
people
like,
who could afford
"That's
to
where
shop
you're
at
getting your
Sears didn't have to shop at J.C.
shoes."
Penney. I get it.
I went to Penny's.
Oh no, J.C. Penney's is great because
JCPenney
I
is
used to get.
actually better than Sears.
I used to buy all my old man clothes there, like when I was in my 20s and I dressed like I was 90.
I used to buy my clothes at JCPenney.
I was going to say, that's where my parents bought my clothes, J.C. Penney and
the
Kmart.
only thing I did buy,
like talk about Nike shoes. It's like whatever they got at JCPenney, that's what you're
I
getting.
bought
All-
jackets
my
at J.C. Penney's. I bought
fancy friends in high school would have the Izod Lacoste shirt, and I
yeah,
had the little
baby.
J.C. Penney Fox. Because my mom was like, it's just as good.
Well, Were you ever the one that tried to like cut off that portion so it just didn't have a logo? Because there was a
You couldn't do that with those. The Fox. It was
There would
sewed
be like
into
a-
the.
it was like it
was
wasn't
sewed in-
embroidered.
I mean,
it was
it
like
could be. Then you'd have a hole. So
no, because there was
It'd be weird.
Wasn't
Yeah,
there a
like,
stretch
what are you
in the
hiding?
90s having non-branded apparel was kind of in, like not.
oh,
having
totally.
any visible-
Yeah.
Oh, you have a alligator.
That's Bottega Veneta's big thing in the high fashion, is that they don't put their logos on like everybody else.
Which is great because they combine.
But like
Hanes
everyone
collection.
knows, that's what it is.
That's the
and that's why
distinction
it's
of their
cool.
style is you don't even
Yeah.
have to have the name. Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick. So I was talking about this on Have Such a Good Day, another podcast that I do. The movie Speak No Evil last week. So two versions of this. One came out in 2022, which is a Danish production. And one is recently released, which is a U.S. I think it might be a Netflix movie. Not totally sure. Can't remember. Anyway, I watched both. Have any of you seen these movies?
I haven't.
No, ma'am.
Because they're
It's the
really
James
bad.
McAvoy one, right?
Wait.
That's the
Are you
new one.
allowed to speak evil about them?
Oh.
I'm not going to speak
But it's the same premise. It's-
evil.
they didn't change it.
The two that they did. The two movies don't. They're not the same movie, but there are a lot of similarities between the two. But they're like
Speaking no evil about things.
it's not. It's not a horror thing. It's like psychological thriller, I
but
guess.
it's not supernatural.
It's not supernatural. No. And it's not like no demons, kind of thing. Or jumping out of, the corner type thing. But I watched the second one last night and I was like, what am I doing? What is going on here? Why do people make these movies? I'm into them, but I'm also like, they end and I'm just like, so that's over.
So why do you watch them? Is
Yeah.
that the relief you
I
get at
don't
the
know.
end? Yeah.
That's a good question. Like, why do people watch movies that make them feel horrible? Why?
Because I know horror films fans say they like the tension buildup because then the release when the movie is over or when
There's
the
a
thing
little
that
of that.
happens is
Yeah.
like it's like an endorphin rush. Like don't exaggerate it, but they're like it's fun because you build up all that tension and then you let it go. And I sort of get that intellectually, although I don't experience it that way myself.
Yeah.
I love horror movies, but I don't have an answer as to why. I don't know why I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
should.
so what's funny is a friend of mine who lives in the Netherlands wrote a long post about this movie Speak No Evil, the first one, which is Danish production, but also takes place in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So she was just like, it was like kind of close to her type thing. And she was just like, that was a crazy movie. This is insane. Why do people make movies like this? Here's what I think. So I was like, Speak No Evil? That doesn't sound like something I want to watch.
But you
I
always
did.
do this. You do this
But
all the time.
I know.
How
But
many
so-
times did you watch Midsommar, for example?
Oh, that
3
movie, dude.
times.
Jeez.
And you hated it more every time you watched
And
it.
I love
mean-
that
Because I
movie, but I
needed,
can't.
I wanted to understand why someone makes this movie.
Have you
Because
seen?
it's so disturbing.
Have you seen the other one he did? The other Ari Aster one, the
The other one with
Hereditary.
naked people in it.
Hereditary. That thing is.
Oh, is that the one with?
that's arguably worse.
I know dude. That movie still scares the living poo poo out of me.
But that, I'm like, Ari, what is going on, man?
Yeah, Ari
Why?
Aster he's a
Why
psycho.
the movies? I mean,
Yeah.
they're like good, and that's the problem. That's the problem that I have. I'm like, they're good, but
They
like
are good.
they're
Yeah.
so disturbing.
Yeah. No, especially Hereditary really gets me. But I've seen Hereditary like 4 times, and I'm not comfortable.
Yes, I keep going back. Like maybe I'll understand it better this time.
Yeah.
Type thing. Yeah.
I don't get that way about so this Speak No Evil one is less my jam because it feels like real people being terrible, and I would
It's
much
real
rather
people
have
being terrible.
yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
that's less fun for me. I'd rather have like
Yeah, no, it's not fun.
supernatural
There's
stuff,
no
you
fun.
know.
Yeah.
Do you
right,
like
right,
slasher
yeah.
flicks, or is that like a no?
If they're over the top and stupid, yes. If they're mean
I don't.
and kids are scared, you know, I don't like it when little kids are scared. Like I hate that kind of stuff.
And Speak No Evil has some kid stuff that is not.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta just, you know, it's you gotta strap in.
Yeah, I don't think I
Chang
can do
wants
it.
to know if you've seen Long Legs.
Yes. Long leg. Sarah, watch Long Legs, and then we can talk about how whether or not that Nicolas Cage performance is good or
Oh,
terrible.
the Nick Cage movie. Yeah, I listened to a podcast about it some time ago, and I was like, I don't know. So
It's very
he's just
weird.
like he's just like mean.
It's very
I guess
weird.
I'll do it.
There are
Yeah.
parts of it that are really good and like scary and creepy and, you know, match what you expect. And then I think Nick Cage is so over the top, though. It really took me out of it. But other people love it. So I don't know. I'd be
You
curious
know,
what
it's
you
funny.
think.
It's funny the way these movies either, you know, resonate with you or do not.
Yeah.
I mean, I consider them hate watches,
A little bit. Yeah.
but you know, I'm still watching. So
Roger
there you
has
go.
seen that movie, Cheapbag 84. Human
All right.
Centipede.
All right.
Human Centipede.
I've seen
Never.
it.
I
I've
won't
Thanks
do
to
it.
the humans who support us on Patreon, whether they're centipedes or not, like Howard and RW and GPEG and Don Jr. Thanks everybody who supports us everywhere. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a good day.
Good day.
Have a good day, Internet. You guys are great.
All right, we are still live, and we are going to choose titles and thank people. First of all, thanks again, Tony, for the super chat. Yeah.
Nice.
Hey.
Very nice. Thank you, Tony. Over on Twitch, what did we get? We got some bits from PC Milesy and Zoe Brings Bacon and Rabbit41. Rabbit41 resubscribed with Prime for the 48th month. Lion Jim Video used 40 bits for an on-screen celebration. Thanks to all of you. You know, I meant to mention this in the main show in GDI, and I totally forgot to note it. We're featured on Amazon Music's podcast page this week under Indie Podcasts.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I put a little screenshot of it in the Discord. But yeah, very nice to be featured right next to Slob Comes Clean and I Mom So Hard. Acast Indie Amplifier.
That's right. Tech and then mom stuff. I love it. I love
there
it.
we are. Very cool. Congrats to them too. All right, let's go to showbot.tv/DTNS2. And we have a three-way tie for the top vote getter. Moose2271 splitting the votes against themselves with You Shall Not Emulate and Apple Doesn't Cooperate unless it's to their advantage. And then Raymond with Unreal Opportunities for Game Devs. Good one, Raymond. Nicely done.
Nice. I like
GPEG suggested OpenAI is getting its wallet stuffed bigly.
it. Yeah.
Unreal Gets Real from Larry in Atlanta. That's nice.
Yeah.
Automatic for the WP engine. Boy, those two, they're just being mean to each other now. That's just annoying.
Yeah. Why are they so mean to each other?
They probably knew each other in business school.
Maybe. What would you like to go with for the DTNS title, Roger?
We went with GPEG 84's Epic Wants to Be Everywhere.
Epic wants to be everywhere. Thank you, JPEG. Good stuff. Our GDI top vote getters are Roger Walking the Walk from Raymond and Old Man Likes Skechers from Get on Tap.
Which
Nice.
is weird.
Aw.
No, it's great, but like
And
Skechers,
yells
when they
at
first
Cloud.
came out-
Yes, while standing in his while stepping into his Skechers.
And telling people to get off that lawn.
Get off my lawn. I'm Tom Merritt.
There's also
Get off my lawn, Cloud. These shoes are comfortable.
There's Metal Link's Feet Fed Flip Flops,
Feet fed flip flops.
Fairy Feet from Clinton Woodward,
The agony of defeat.
Nice.
Shoes as a gadget
feet.
from Ledwin.
Oh,
Feet.
yeah. Kmart, the origin story from C-Spawn.
So, Sarah, are you going to get a pair of these, by the way? Sorry,
I
use your
don't
title
know.
and then, yeah.
I don't
I
know.
didn't mean to
You know,
I want
I
to try them.
yeah, like I'm not totally in the market for shoes right this second, but
It
I
sounds
do
like
a lot of
live with it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I
we could
do
do
a
a
lot
walk
of-
with it.
walk with it. Yes. And jogging, that's different. Shoes have to be really good for jogging.
Yeah.
Shoes that hit the target.
And hiking, different. All of that. I'd be into that. Let's
Well,
do it.
I might.
See how well they do in the rain, like when they get wet.
For that price, I might just do it. It's pretty good.
It's not a bad price. I
Yeah,
know.
but your feet really aren't. Maybe they are. I don't know, Scott.
My feet aren't what?
You're growing. Like, would you be able to test?
It's not
out
about growing when you're adult. It's
Yeah.
about, do they fit better because they can expand to exactly the right width and length.
Yeah. Which sounds like space age tech to me compared to the shoes I've already owned in my life. So
just
I
use
want to try it.
installation spray foam and just spray your feet, and then you got shoes for life.
Nice. Now you're talking sci-fi.
Let's pick a title.
Who has weird feet from Zoe? Where's the cobbler from C-Spawn? Old Man Likes Skechers, which seems to be the most favorite.
Nice.
Old Man Likes Skechers. Going once.
What?
Going twice.
Old man doesn't know his title's getting chosen about him.
I like Old Man Like Skechers. Why didn't you mention that one?
Yeah. Sounds good. We'll go with it, Pops.
All right, there we go. Thank you, Ken Otafian. We are going to go raid Technique. If you're on Twitch, tell Technique folks we say hi. If you're on YouTube, tell the next thing that YouTube's algorithm tells you to watch. We say hi.
Yeah. Tell 'em we sent you.
Later.